thank you to Grammar Songs by Melissa. So you can understand roughly about contextual clues, students? It's okay, slow and steady. We can go to the next slide. Okay, synonym. Okay, synonym is a phrase or a word that means it's the same, similar to another word. So the definitions state or describe the meaning of a word. So these two context clues can be used to discover the meaning of an unknown word. Let's see. Tip number 1. If let's say we select the unknown word, then we have to identify what parts of speech is that. Is it a noun or verb or an adjective? Then check if there is a synonym in the sentence that can provide the same meaning of the unknown word. Then next you determine whether it is a positive or negative value. Is it good or it is a bad thing. Okay. Okay, let's look at an example here. We can see a picture of 3 people, and it looks like a classroom environment, right? Whereas the teacher is writing on the board and 2 students, and this particular student has a paper plate towards he's going to disturb the class. Probably he's going to fly that towards the teacher. So it shows a bad behavior, am I right? While disturb the lesson. So let's look at the example. Days after he made a flippant remark in class, he regretted sounding so disrespectful. Flippant. What is flippant? Synonym. It is a disrespectful behavior. Right, got it. So that's tip number 1. So usually we can use the signals, or we can see the signals of synonyms in the text by having such words here. These are the signals, means these are the synonyms. For example, means, called, be, verbs, that is also known as, or is referred to as, sometimes called, is or are known as, by, is meant, familiar to, can be defined as commas, dashes, or synonyms. So these are the signals of synonyms in the text. Okay, let's go on with another example. This is tip number 2. We use these signals to help you to identify the synonyms or the similar phrases, the same phrases that explain the unknown word. But bear in mind that synonym may appear before or after the signal. So let's see this. The Milky Way with dark obscuring clouds of dust, commonly referred to as coal sacks. Dark obscuring clouds of dust, commonly referred to as coal sacks. Okay, so the Milky Way. What do you mean by Milky Way? We are talking about the galaxy. It's in the universe. Probably you would like to see what is it. Okay, have you seen this? Probably you have seen in Google or in the internet, right? Okay, or National Geography, or it's in the science, or it's in the planets. Okay, okay. So this is the universe. Earlier I've mentioned about coal sacks, right? Can you see this? A hole, a dark It's a dusty dark hole. Okay. This is known as coal sacks. There are few actually, small. So this is coal sacks. General knowledge. Okay. So let's look at this. Examples and definitions. So what will be that? What is going to be, sorry. Examples can inform the reader about unknown words. They can illustrate the meaning of the word that they refer to. So usually when we are reading a text, so in the text, usually we come across with the words like, for example, e.g., right? Then for instance, such as, including, like, as an example, cases of, instances of, type of. So these are the words which give examples to the definition. So let's see that. The next one. Okay, the Lehigh malware is an example of, okay, an example of a computer virus. Can you see that? The example and the definition. Works allow users to share high-tech gadgets such as iPads, tablets, and etc. Can you see that? The example and the definitions given. So these are the examples, the definition. Since she retired from her job, she has developed new avocations. What's avocation? Hold on. For example, she enjoys internet, going to the cinema, and gardening. So those are avocations, means the examples. Got it? Good job. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Antonym and contrast. So this is the third contextual clues. Okay, as I said, if a synonym is a similar word, similar meaning, antonym will be the opposite. Okay. Antonyms are words that mean the opposite of other words. Antonyms actually can refer to the opposite idea of an unknown word in the sentence or paragraph. So, tip number 1. So, tip number 1, select the unknown word and we have to identify what is the part of speech. Verb, noun, adjective, or etc. Then check if there is a synonym in the sentence that can provide the same meaning of the unknown word. And the last, determine its positive or negative value, whether it is good or bad thing. Okay? So this is tip number 1. So let's look at the example here. Okay, the glass might absorb so much acoustic energy that will shatter. The other glasses remain unaffected. To keep healthy, people need to be active, right? Okay. So the opposite of active, if they remain stagnant, not being active, okay, it could result in loss of vitality and health. The opposite of active is non-active, means stagnant. So that's the meaning given in the example. So Guys, can you really follow my lesson? Can you understand? So far so good? Good job. Okay, so tip number 2. Use those signals to help you identify the contrast or opposition phrases that may explain the unknown word. But we have to bear in mind that the antonym may appear before or after these signals. It's the same thing like synonym. Okay? So let's look at the example here. Signals of antonyms. What are the signals usually will appear in the text? However, but, yet, in contrast, although, on the other hand, despite, while, in spite of, even though, unlike, nevertheless. So these are the signal words which resemble antonyms in a text. So the example is, I have 2 examples. So the examples are, okay, it kept me dry and warm. Dry and warm, okay? If it is dry, obviously it is warm, right? I was soaked, and all of the moisture on my body passed right through. It kept me dry and warm. Obviously it's dry and it was warm. But I was soaked. Soaked, there should be some kind of liquid, water. So can you see the antonyms and the contrast ideas used? Let's look at the other one. The big tree, lush vegetation and wildlife. It shows the ecosystem, it's greenery, okay, are 2 withered areas in the city which earlier it was showing regarding on the greenery, the ecosystem, the wildlife, and on the other hand are 2 withered areas in the city. Withered, it is no more greenery, it's already dried up, or probably it's a drought season. So these are the 2 antonyms and the contrast ideas used in the particular phrase.